Hey guys, so obviously yesterday we had the Nintendo Direct to E3 we've all been looking forward to over probably the last month or so. I just wanted to make this video today just to give you my thoughts and impressions of what went on. This is a little bit different to my usual videos in that it's not scripted. I've got a couple of notes on what happened, but I'm going to go through bit by bit to let you know my feelings towards it. I know there were quite a lot of people who were a little bit disappointed with what went on. I myself, I mean, we'll get into it the further on down the video, but I think there was a lot to take from it. I don't think it was all doom and gloom. I think there were some high points which I'd like to go through. So anyway, so the event opens up. You've got Ganon lying, much like he was in the original Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. So I think a lot of people probably thought the same thing, that we were actually going to have Breath of the Wild 2 footage straight off to open the event. Lo and behold, no, it was a smash reveal. Kazuya from Tekken got announced. Now, I'm not the biggest Tekken fan, but, you know, there has been 7 mainline Tekken games, so there must be quite a few people who love Tekken out there. And the character looked really cool. I recognise him anyway. I might have dabbled in a couple of Tekken games when I was younger. But I think overall, I like the design of him. I like the little devil thing that happens. I can't really say too much about him because I don't really know that much about the character. Yes, it would have been nice to maybe see Crash Bandicoot, which I think a lot of people were expecting. But, you know, for all the fighter fans out there, for the Tekken fans, I think they're going to be really excited about this. So, for me, it's not the end of the world. It's just, you know, it's another character to have a go with. So we'll see how he plays when it comes to it. And I think there's a Tekken... I think there's an event looking at his moveset and whatnot later on down the line as well. So that might be worth a watch as well. So next we got a bit of a surprise actually. Life is Strange, the Remastered Collection, and Life is Strange True Colours. My experience with Life is Strange, actually it's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. If you don't know what Life is Strange is, it's sort of like an episodic choose your own path adventure. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So you make your own decisions as the story goes on, and different things happen based on those decisions. I say it's a bit of a guilty pleasure because it is a bit of like a teen drama kind of game with some supernatural elements as well. It has been a while since I played the first game. I've only played the first one, but what I did play I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was quite well done. So hopefully, as long as we get a good port over to the Switch, I think it's a good addition. And obviously you've got True Colours coming out, which is the third outing of Life is Strange. So it'll be interesting to see where the story goes anyway. Next was Guardians of the Galaxy, which during Square Enix's event, they went on so much about that game, so they must have put quite a bit of effort into it. I am surprised to see it on the Switch, thanks to, you know, sort of the graphic. I wasn't really expecting it. I just thought it would be a PS4/5 and Xbox game. I didn't think we'd be able to get it on the Switch, but it's good that it's here. I am a big fan of third-person adventure games, and I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I think the films are good. I like the comics, so I'm all for it. Hopefully, it will be a good adventure game, and yeah, should be good. After that we got Worms, but sort of like a Battle Royale Worms. Looks okay. I used to quite like Worms as a kid, so this looks like a whole different spin on it, so I'll give it a go. Next we got 2 Point Campus. Now it's not really my kind of game, but as I said about, you know, like Tekken, I do know of a lot of people online who actually love the 2 Point Hospital game that is currently out on the Switch. So for them, I'm sure they're going to be buzzing about 2 Point Campus. It looks a lot of fun. It sort of looks like a weird mix of like The Sims meets, I don't know, some like crazy, over the top sort of, not quite as realistic as The Sims. It's good though, it looks good. I think it'll be interesting. It's not out till 2022, so I'm surprised that it's sort of been revealed so early, but maybe that just shows how popular the series is. Might be worth for me to have a go with 2 Point Hospital. If you've played it, let me know down in the comments, and yeah, I'll give it a try if I've got the time. There's quite a few games coming out, but if I've got the time, I'll give 2 Point Hospital a try. Next we got some bananas on the screen, and then we got the mention of like a 20th year anniversary, and instantly my mind went to Donkey Kong, but then I thought, well, I'm sure Donkey Kong's been around a lot longer than 20 years. Turns out he has been around for a lot longer than 20 years. Super Monkey Ball. Again, a game that's been going for a long time. It looks like it's got sort of a few of the older games playing. I always ever really experienced Super Monkey Ball in like arcades. I used to play it a lot in arcades. I've never really played it on a console, so it might be worth picking up. It looks like you can play the older games on it as well. I'm guessing because it's the anniversary, they've put quite a bit of work into the new one to sort of showcase it a little bit to keep the franchise moving forward. From the looks of things, it looks like, well, from what I know of it, you're a little monkey in a ball, and you've got to sort of roll around little platforms and make your way to the end of them, collecting bananas. Looks interesting. Then there was a bit of a strange one. Footage of Mario Party. And at first, I think probably quite a few people thought the same thing, that it was actually DLC. We got 5 new maps from the N64 era, which, if you've seen a few of my videos before, you'll know that the N64 was my favourite console. So to see some of the maps from some of the older Mario Party games, they were also my favourite Mario Party games as well. I thought it looked really cool. Also 100 mini games as well. A lot of like throwbacks, especially one where you like to like pull the character's face, like a picture, make his picture. I remember playing that as a kid. But no, turns out it is a whole new game coming later this year. I'm open to it. I'll give it a go. I never actually played Super Mario Party on the Switch. I haven't got around to it yet, but it's cool that there's a new one coming. As I say, I don't know why they didn't just do it as DLC on that game rather than bringing out a whole new one. But it does look like there's quite a lot here, so maybe they just couldn't fit it on, I don't know. And then, sneaky Nintendo hitting us with Metroid 5, after saying that Metroid Prime 4, you know, they're making good progress on it. Obviously, when they were talking about Metroid 5, they were talking about the new 2D game, Metroid Dread. I quite like a Metroid game. I've played a couple of them before. I'm not the best at them. I'm usually a bit useless at these Metroidvania games. But I think the graphics look really good. I think the idea of it looked cool. Being chased by like these monster things. Looks good. I'd say it certainly looks like a current gen version of a 2D Metroid game. I think the graphics look brilliant. Yeah, I'd say it looks very polished. I'm willing to give it a go. And that one comes later this year as well. You'll find that most of these games are coming later on this year. So that's always a good thing. They did say at the start of this event that it was going to be, you know, games that are coming mostly later this year. So there we go. Moving on, we've got Just Dance 2022. You might be surprised to know that I'm not the biggest dancer. So I probably won't be running to get that one. But it's been going for ages, so some people must like Just Dance 2022. It's on the way. Cruisin' Blast was next. Apparently it's an arcade classic, but it looks really weird. I mean, there's like a unicorn that runs around, and I mean the levels look kind of cool. There's one where there's like a dinosaur, and there's like big donuts and stuff. It looks quite cool. I'll give it a go. Depending on general feel of it, I'll see what that's about. Next we had Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which I'm actually quite looking forward to. Now I know there's been loads of Dragon Ball Z games coming out in recent years. They seem to come out every sort of year or two. One of my favourite fighter games actually is Dragon Ball FighterZ, so I'm always open to giving Dragon Ball Z a go. The thing I like about this one is it appears to not just be a fighter game, but almost like an RPG. It's got RPG elements, so like mini quests and sort of an open world you can interact with. I'm excited to give it a go. There's a lot you could do with Dragon Ball Z, and there's a lot of really cool characters, and it looks like they're going to be bringing back a load of all the old fighters and stuff. So I haven't played it on the PS4, but I think it got reviewed quite well. So I'm willing to give it a try, see how I get along with it, see what the adventure is all about, the adventure mode and how it plays. Then we got a little bit more about Mario Golf Rush. Obviously this one's coming later this month, so I sort of expected them to mention it here just to remind people that, you know, Mario Golf is coming. I'm glad they didn't focus on it too much. Part of me was worried that they were going to open this event and then focus on Mario Golf for like 10 minutes, but they only briefly mentioned it. What can I say about it? I mean, it looks good. I like the story mode. I think the story mode looks good. I've said in one of my videos before that Golf Story is one of my favourite games for the Switch as a whole, so to have sort of a golf RPG Mario Golf might be quite cool. We'll see how it comes out, but it looks really good. I think the graphics look amazing. Yeah, that's good, and that's out on the 25th, which is 3 days before my birthday, so there we go. Monster Hunter Stories 2 came on after that. You see, I'm not a big fan of the mainline Monster Hunter series, but I think Stories looks quite cool in that it's almost, well, I love a game with a good story, so having a story-driven adventure based in the Monster Hunter world, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, the clue's really in the name of the game, really, Monster Hunter Stories. But that's on July the 9th, so again, very soon. Actually, it's going to be quite an expensive couple of months, but there we go. Next, a WarioWare game. I think there were quite a few people who called this. I didn't see it come in, but WarioWare, I think for the last few generations, WarioWare has had a game come onto it. It sort of gave me 1-2 Switch vibes, but hopefully sort of a better, more charming version of that. It sort of looks like it's a mini-game, base game. I imagine they're going to utilise the Joy-Cons and the different things you can do with it and all the sensors. So it'll be interesting again to see how they work. They are a lot cleverer than they first appear. Even playing stuff like Nintendo Labo and you know, other games like that. The sensors in them are amazing. You don't realise until you start playing with these kind of games. So I think it'd be interesting to use it. I do think Wario is a really cool character. He's funny. I love his voice. The other characters look kind of cool, so yeah, I'll give it a go. I do feel like a big problem with this Direct, it's not really Nintendo's fault, was that it came out with a lot of stuff that certain individuals are going to like, but not necessarily a lot of what one person's going to like, if that makes sense. What I mean is, you know, they seem to be doing a lot of sequels of well-loved games that aren't really related to each other. Seems that way on Facebook as well. Everyone seems to be hating on this Direct, but I think if you look at individual comments, people seem to be excited about different things. So nothing screams out more than the next game, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Got a date, I think it's in November it's due to come out. The game looks interesting, but I've never played it. I've never played the original one, so it's easy for me to sit here and say, you know, I'm really disappointed that it's not something completely new or something that I like. But then again, Shin Megami Tensei, I know, has quite a big following, so I might give it a go. I've never actually played any of the other games before, so I might be a little bit lost. I might try it though, we'll see what happens. Danganronpa Decadence. It's got this like mean looking bear. Came out. The trailer came out next. Absolutely no idea what it is. It looks a bit like if Phoenix Wright met Five Nights at Freddy's. The bear is terrifying. He's got sort of one side that's really evil and like with an evil grin, and then one side with like like a happy face. It looks fine. I'll give it a go. Then we got Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water, which I was quite... I mean, of all the Wii U ports that could have come over, I didn't think this one would end up coming. It is a game I've heard of. It's a game I've had a little dabble with. I'm not usually the best at horror games, but it sort of seems like it's a game where you take pictures of ghosts to get rid of them. But the trailer was really, really eerie. I mean, I'm probably showing it on screen right now. Yeah. Thing is, not many people owned a Wii U, did they? So I suppose you've got to port over as much as you can so that people can actually play some of these games that have been developed, because it'd be a shame, especially with some of the better games that we got. For example, 3D Super Mario World. I think it would have been a real shame if they didn't port that over, because it was such a good game, but not many people got a chance to play it because no one had a Wii U, sadly. Fatal Frame, I might dive into this one on the Switch, probably for Halloween. I think it comes out around that time, so I might wait until Halloween and pick that one up. Next, we zoomed into some DLC for Doom Eternal. Plays really, really well on the Switch, both of the Doom games. And that was a bit of a shadow drop. It dropped today, or yesterday, depending on where you are. But I think it looks good. Yeah, it's Doom Eternal. It's more Doom Eternal. It's more death and like killing monsters. So I might give that one a go. We got a release date for Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remastered on the Switch. Obviously, we've known that that's been coming for a while, but I don't think prior to this day we had a proper sort of date. And again, that comes out 3 days before my birthday. I used to love those games as a kid, so it might be interesting to regress back to my teen years, as it were. Happy with that one. Think it looks good. Next, we got a game called Strange Brigade, which was like another stealth drop. Sort of gave me like a weird Tomb Raider / Uncharted sort of multiplayer vibe about it. I do like third-person games, as I said before, so I might see how what the general feeling is towards it. I think it looks kind of interesting. Not really too much to say about it, to be honest. I think some of the puzzles look kind of cool. I think it looks like it could play well. Next, we got Mario and Ravid Sparks of Hope. Now, we did hear about this in the Ubisoft conference, so it wasn't a surprise. Again, glad it only made a small appearance in this conference, because we already know about it. I loved the first game. I thought the first game was absolutely brilliant. So it'll be interesting what they've done to differentiate it from the first game. Obviously, it's going to be set in a different area, but it'll be interesting to see what changes they've made in terms of combat, in terms of how you play the game. Hopefully they haven't messed with it too much. So as I say, I think the first one worked really well. It was such a different sort of Mario take. Next, we got Advance Wars 1 and 2 out of nowhere, which honestly didn't see that one coming. For those of you that don't know, Advance Wars 1 and 2, I believe, were on the, I want to say Game Boy Advance. And it's sort of a strategy, sort of army kind of game. I do know that they got received very, very well back in the day. I mean, we're talking like 9s and 10s for both those games, so I think there's a good reason why it's got ported over to the Switch. I'm open to giving that a go. I think it looks really cool. If they are anywhere near as good as they were reviewed back in the day, then I'm definitely open to trying it. Next, we got DLC for Age of Calamity. It was sort of winding down at this point, and the presenter said something along the lines of, "Oh, this is going to be our last sort of reveal." So when I saw DLC for Age of Calamity, I thought, oh my days, is that all we're going to hear? We're not going to get anything else. Thankfully, that's not the case. As much as I'm looking forward to the DLC for Age of Calamity, it's good that we've got other things to show as well. Skyward Sword. Really excited to play this one, especially without the annoying controls that you had on the Wii remote. Now you can play it just with buttons and like the joysticks. I'm really looking forward to Skyward Sword. I think it looks great. I think it'll be interesting for newer players of the Zelda series to go back and see the story right from the beginning, right from where, you know, all of this sort of began. And that's coming on the 16th of July, so that is close as well. So I'll be saving my money for that. That's probably going to be a pre-order for me. Surprise, surprise, we got the Game & Watch. I think everyone saw this coming a mile off after Mario's Game & Watch for his anniversary last year. I like that you could play the first 3 games on it. I mean, I would have rather had more 3D Zelda games on the Switch, but, you know, it's a cool little addition. They didn't have to do it. I think they look good. I haven't got the Mario one, actually, so I might actually have to pick up the Zelda one. So, yeah. And then finally, after all that, they saved it right till the end, which I'm not surprised they did. And that was, of course, Breath of the Wild 2. We finally got a little bit of gameplay footage. We got more of the trailer, more sort of kind of see what's happening. I mean, it basically looks like it's set in the first Breath of the Wild setting, but up in the sky, which is what he says. I think it looks really good. I'm really excited to give it a go. Certainly looks like they've brought in sort of different moves. Now, I'm sure for the next year they're going to be perfecting it and refining it to make sure it's as good as it can be. Obviously, the first Breath of the Wild is probably one of, if not the best game on the Switch so far. So they want to make sure that this next one lives up to it, what with the hype around it. So I'm happy that, you know, they've said hopefully it's going to come out in 2022. I'm sort of crossing my fingers that that's going to be the case, because they do have a history of sort of sending things back a little bit. But here's hoping that we see Breath of the Wild 2 next year. And that was really it. As I say, this Direct was never really going to please everybody. There wasn't a massive amount that stood out to me personally, but there were high points. There were a few games that I'm looking forward to jumping into. You've got WarioWare, you've got Advance Wars, you've got, what else have we got? We've got Life is Strange I'm looking forward to. 2 Point Campus I know a lot of people will be excited about. I know it sounds like a little bit of an excuse that, you know, we are still living with COVID, a deadly disease, and depending on where you are in the world, it's sort of hitting at a different rate. We're quite lucky in the UK at the moment in that, you know, it seemed, well, it's sort of dying down and picking up a little bit, but our vaccine program's pretty good. Hopefully everyone who sees this around the world is not being affected too badly by it. But, you know, you've got all these developers who are having to make games and come up with new ideas in such a different environment to what we've been used to. Also, he did say that there are other games that they're working on that haven't been announced in this Direct. I'm sure they're going to come out with another Direct at some point this year. I'm sure we'll see one. I think a lot of us were surprised that the Switch Pro hasn't been announced sort of over the last couple of weeks, which I think is a bit of a shame. But it just gives us more to look forward to in the future. I think there's no doubt that these things are going to come eventually. As I say, I think in general they didn't do too bad a job. It wasn't as terrible as I think a lot of people said it was, in my opinion. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. Anyway, that's just my run through of the event and my opinions. This video wasn't really too exciting, was it? But, you know, if you want to see this face, it's a good place to do it. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, do hit like, do hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, which I've got sort of a proper... I've got quite a long video coming up of 3D platform games on the Switch. So if you're interested in like your old Mario 64s, your Donkey Kong 64s, your Banjo-Kazooies, and you want to see what kind of games are out like that on the Switch, then give that video a watch. It's going to be coming out either tomorrow or Friday. Until then, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.